Welcome to part 1 of a series of videos where I'm going to show you how to make the game Ninja Jumper using Pygame on Mu. Now Mu is a Python editor which you can download and install, and it comes with the Pygame libraries already inside. You just need to go to Mode and then Pygame 0, and we'll be using Pygame 0 to make up these games. Now Ninja Jumper looks like this. So it's essentially a fast-moving platformer game where you play as a ninja who has to go and collect the gems. As you can see, the gems randomly appear in different locations when you collect them, and each time you collect a gem, you get 1 point added to your loot. Now, this is not meant to be a 100% completed game. This is meant to be a starting off point for people who are learning Pygame 0 and want to make their own games. So as I show you how to make this game, I'm going to be explaining in detail why I've done each bit and how to do various things I've done. And it's going to be pitched at high school students at that sort of level, for people who've got a bit of knowledge of programming and Python, but not a huge amount, to make it accessible for as many people as possible. So, there's going to be various files and sounds, as you can hear, which I'm going to provide for you. They're going to be in a zip file, which you can download from the link in the description below, or alternatively you can go through to the Google site, which I'm going to make up and host these files and these YouTube videos as well. So the first thing anyone needs to do, if they've not done it already, is go and download Mu, install that, and get it set to Pygame 0 mode. Then you're going to go and want to go and get your zip files and find the images and the sounds that I'm going to provide for you, okay, and extract them. You're going to want to save your first file, save it somewhere that you can easily get to it, and then put those images and those sounds in those folders in the same folder. So everything has to be in the same folder, your Python file, your images, and your sounds. Okay, so once you've done that, you are ready to start coding. Okay, so in your blank file, let's get started, and we'll just start by importing a couple of libraries that we're going to use. So we're going to import time, and then we're going to do import Pygame. Okay, now we're going to specify the height and the width of the window that we're going to be using. So width equals 1000. And then height equals 600. Okay, now let's set up a few variables that we're going to use in a bit. Okay, so we're going to be using RGB colors, and so I'm just going to set up already the blue variable, which we're going to change in a bit. I'm just going to set that to 150. I'm going to set blue forward to true. And then I am going to set the ground color. I use the UK spelling for the variable. Equals 00139. So this is going to be the color of the ground that the ninja is going to walk on. And now I'm going to create what's called a rect in Pygame. Rects are rectangles which can be used to check for interactions, for clashes, if two things have gone into each other. So we're going to create the rectangle for the floor. So we're going to say floor equals rect. Okay, and now you're going to put in the XY coordinates of where it's going to start drawing the box. So that's 0, 580. And then the size of the box, again in X and Y coordinates. So it's going to be 1000 long horizontally, and then just 20 high. There we go. So that's the rectangle for the floor. And now I'm going to create my main character, my ninja. Okay, so I'm going to say ninja equals actor. So this is what's built into Mu and Pygame 0. We can just create actors just as simple as this. So we're going to say jumper -1. So that's the actual file name. So that's going to go through to the images folder, and it's going to go find jumper 1. There we go. And it is going to bring that through as the first image we're going to use for the main character. And then again, the X, Y coordinates of where it's going to begin. Now, the X, Y coordinates of the screen, which I'll show you in a little bit, start from the top left of the screen. And as you go horizontally across, that's the X increasing. And as you go down the page, that's the Y increasing, which is a bit different from other interfaces, such as like the old Scratch interface, which goes from the center of the screen. So let's start drawing our screen. So that's our setup there. So like section 1, our setup section, we're setting up our variables. Now we want to start actually drawing something on the screen. So we're going to obviously do def draw. So this is our draw function. And we're just going to start off by filling the screen with a color. So screen.fill. Okay, this is going to fill the screen with a color. I'm going to go 173, comma, 216, comma, blue. Okay, and so now, if I run that, that should now work. Yeah, so there you go. So that's the color of my screen that it's going to start on. Obviously, I could change those numbers here to change that. For example, if I just made that a 0, it's going to be a different color. Or if I made it full, there's going to be more blue. Like so. Okay, so that's nice. I'm going to just keep that on blue, because I'll show you what we'll do with that in a moment. So what we can then do is, after we've drawn the background color, we can then overlay an image actually over the top. Now, if you use a transparent image, an image that has transparency in it, which like the image I've got, then the back behind those, in a transparent areas, we're going to have the screen color coming through from behind. So now I'm going to go screen.blit, which is going to paint that image on the back of the screen. Skyline large. And then the XY coordinates of where we begin painting it. There we go. So let's just try that out. There you go. So there is the start of our background coming together. Very good. Now let's have a go at just drawing our floor. So we're going to have a little floor that the ninja can run along. Okay, and we're going to do that by drawing a filled rectangle using the rectangle we've already created up above. So I'm going to say screen.draw.filled rect. There you go, it's filling it in for me. Okay, and now we need to tell it the rectangle we want to draw. We've already created that, so I can actually just type in floor. Okay, and then it's after the RGB color that we want to color it, and we've already created that up there. So that was ground color. So we're going to say ground color. Very good. So now we should have the floor. Yes. So it's kind of the similar sort of color as everything else, but there's the floor that our ninja is going to run along. Okay, so let's create the ninja now. So now we're going to go ninja.draw, and so that will draw the ninja at these coordinates using that costume. So let's have a look. There we go, smack bang, or nearly in the middle of the screen. Okay, very good. So that's all our items drawn. So you could see that as maybe like section 2, where you're drawing the screen, and then obviously like section 3, you'd want to think about actually changing the game mechanics in the background, and that's all done in def update. Okay, so all of your game mechanics and things, they go in def update. But before we get into that, what we're going to do is we're actually going to create a little fading effect in the background, just to make the game come alive a bit more. So I'm going to create a new function called background color fade. Fade, probably best if I spell it right. There we go. So every time the update function is run, which is around 60 times a second, both these two functions run around 60 times per second, it's also going to run this function that I'm now going to create down here. So I'm going to say def background color fade. Yeah, it's already got it there. Okay, and now I want to add in some global variables. Okay, so remember, these are all functions. So when you're using a function, if you create a variable inside that function, it only exists in that function, and then it'll disappear if you stop running that function. In addition, you won't be able to change or edit any variables that you've already created unless you globalize those variables. Okay, so we're going to write global blue and blue forward. So we're going to globalize blue, which is 150, and blue forward is currently true. So what we're going to do is we're going to say if blue is less than 255, which is the max value, and blue forward. So when the game starts, both these conditions are going to be met, and therefore this first bit will be activated. Let me just zoom in a bit. Okay, so blue is currently going to be 150, blue forward is going to be true, so it is going to do this code, and we're going to do blue plus equals 1. So that obviously means blue equals blue plus 1. So it's going to keep adding 1 to the blue variable every time it goes around the loop. Else, so once that condition is not met, so once blue is 255 or blue forward is not true, then we're actually going to set blue forward to false. Blue forward equals false. Okay, so essentially when this blue does get to 255, we're going to set that to false. It's no longer going to do any of this code. And then we're going to start going back the other way. So then we say if blue is greater than 130 and not blue forward. Okay, so if it is false, okay, we're going to go blue minus equals 1. So we're going to take 1 away from the blue variable every time we go around the loop. And then else, we're going to, if we do get to 130 now, if we get back down to the other end, we're going to say else blue forward equals true. Okay, let's have a look. Did it work? There you go. So there is the fading color background. Okay, we've got our ninja drawn in the middle, and then we've got our background, and we've got the floor rectangle. Okay, so that's part 1 of the Ninja Jumper game. Go and give that a go.